to this session on managerial process, which is the initial session, and the objectives that we need to learn are: what is management? Then we will learn organizational performance, followed by functions of management, which include planning, organizing, leading and controlling. Then we'll talk of levels of management, managerial skills, the changes that have happened recently in management, empowerment of management, empowerment of management team, challenges for management in the present day global environment, and how can we build a competitive advantage in organization, and the global perspective of management as it is necessary today. If you have to talk what management is actually performance of the basic functions which encompass management in the ordinary sense of the term. But management is much more than that. It is quite complex, quite difficult, very challenging in the organization. Management, if I have to sum up, is the function of enabling the organization through its efforts and activities to meet the goals and objectives of its progress and sustenance in the competitive market economy. Obviously, when we talk of management, we need to have a look at the organization in terms of how organizations are created and built up. Organization can be defined in two ways. One is its collection of people who coordinate their activities for accomplishment of the goals and tasks set for the organization for fulfilling its economic objectives. The second way in which we can look at organization is it's a place where certain activities are carried out towards fulfilling certain economic needs. Who are the managers? And what are the levels of managers we need to look at? Managers are actually the deliverers in the organization who help the organization to accomplish its goals and objectives through the performance of the manpower resources which are there in the entire organization. And this manpower is the primary resource for success of any business enterprise. There are other resources which typically are technology, finance, information, and materials. The managers need to ensure optimum utilization of all these resources for competitive advantage of the organization in the fierce economic environment in which it exists, by obviously surpassing the competitors. And the style of performance in the organization need to be looked at, or it could be measured in terms of two factors. One is efficiency, the other is effectiveness. While efficiency talks of the individual performance of individual team members, Effectiveness is a measure of collective output by all the members of the team. That's the basic difference between efficiency and effectiveness. Both are complementary to each other, and we need to ensure that in the organization for superior performance. Now, in brief, if I have to mention about the various functions of management, planning comes first, which is the basic and primary function. Planning helps us to identify the path of progress in advance for ensuring attainment of the goals. Next comes organizing. Organizing is a difficult, complex process. It needs to look at two aspects. One is structuring the organization in terms of the positions and hierarchies of people who will be there both in managerial levels and in the performance level. The second aspect is distribution of jobs by setting departments and divisions so that functions are smoothly carried out with complete coordination and cooperation among various departments in the organization. Next comes direction, which can also be interpreted as leading. In leading or direction, it is the manager who has to sell the vision of the organization and enable the people by virtue of motivating them to perform for the organization, and thereby the organization goals could be accomplished, which will determine the progress of the organization on the one hand, and also the growth and progress of the people who perform towards the same in the organization. Then we come to the next activity, which is controlling. Controlling, as it is in the ordinary sense understood, is thought to be restricting. But actually controlling means ensuring performance of functions on the right track in the right manner without any deviation. Controlling is actually facilitating the performance of the people and the organization collectively. So controlling is a favorable process and not a constraining process as ordinarily people would tend to think. And therefore controlling is also equally important in the process of management, if we call it process. Then we come to the point of levels of management. There are 3 levels of managers. The first level were called also line executives. The first level managers or line executives are responsible for performance of duties and tasks by the rest of the manpower in the organization. They directly interact with the people in general, both direct labor and indirect labor, and ensure execution of all tasks towards goal accomplishment for the organization. The mid-level managers have a leading and supervising role whereby they ensure that all activities in the organization are carried out smoothly and efficiently on a sustained basis. They are responsible for managing the resources and ensuring timely accomplishment of tasks for progress of the organization. The next level is known as top management. Top management sets the organization goals arising out of the vision for the organization. They take short-term as well as long-term view of progress of the organization. So they are entrusted with strategic planning, corporate planning, and the annual functional plan. Most of the time, they are therefore engaged in strategizing and strategy making for ensuring accomplishment of the goal as set through their own vision. The skills typically which a manager is supposed to have are ordinarily three skills. The conceptual skill, which means they should have the knowledge of the subject which they deal with, and also they should have the conceptual skill of management as a process itself. The second most important skill which enables their managerial role is the human skills, otherwise known as interpersonal skills. Their ability to understand people behavior, interact with people, and motivate them is the actual challenge before them. If they can understand the motive of the people towards performance of job, they will be able to guide them perfectly and determine the level of output and the extent of performance for teams, individuals, and the organization as a group. The technical skills tell us about the knowledge of the functional area, including the technology which every manager needs to utilize in his functional area. He should have complete understanding of the processes in detail of the functions that he handles. Okay. And these technical competence skills build up the core competency or core ability of every individual at respective levels to ensure his role accomplishment as a manager at that respective level. Without competency, the manager shall not be able to determine his own performance goals, or he will not be tenable or suitable in the position as manager. The recent changes over the last 15 years which we have seen in the field of management are that organizations have been rationalized and downsized to be responsive to the changes in the environment, to control the cost, and to focus more clearly on performance for economic gain. This could broadly be termed as restructuring in the organization. The other important change has been outsourcing of activities. No organization today carry out all the activities which need to be carried out for the product or the services which the organization renders. Primarily to control cost and to carry a lean manpower complement, organizations outsource the jobs to other organizations who then there become their channel partners, and through which is again known as networking, and through networking the organizations accomplish their task goals. Outsourcing increases the efficiency of the organization, it reduces costs, and it ensures better utilization of all the resources. Today we are part of a system of management, and the era is known as post-entrepreneurial age of management, which by itself denotes that every manager, every individual in the organization shall act in an empowered manner to deliver whatever he is entrusted with. And collectively, therefore, the teams have to really assume the responsibility they are meant to handle and ensure performance without being told time and again what they need to do. The biggest challenge is globalization of management. Every organization in every corner of the world today exists in an organization which is a global environment. And in global environment, the challenge is cannot be contained in a region or in a type of market or in any particular area of the world. Everything is globalized, including the managerial manpower. So every organization today is a global organization. It manufactures the products anywhere in the world, whereas it could be sold anywhere in the world again. There is no boundary for any organization in terms of its production, sale of goods, or mobility of the manpower. So therefore, through total quality management, every organization needs to be world class, and that will render them competitive advantage over their competitors in any part of the globe. In the process of doing so, the management will have to be ethical, and they cannot shun their social responsibility. And the most demanding role of management in that respect today is their sensitivity towards environment, both the general environment and the people environment. They cannot play with or take advantage of either of the environments for their selfish gain. The organization and the management as such will have to realize that they have a responsibility to give back much more to the environment in the positive way than they can profit through exploiting the resources of the environment. So that is the major task which every manager, every organization must bear in mind that the organization and individual every manager need to be sensitive to the needs of the environment, and collectively they have the responsibility to fulfill the environmental needs in the best possible way as expected to sustain the resources of the environment for the future. And therefore, the standards are not set by the organization or the manager himself. The standards are set by the environment and the demands of the time. And that is set in a manner as to ensure tenability of the civilization in the natural course and not causing any damage or devastation in the progress of humanity. As I have just now said, that manpower again is a global concept, which means that people, talented people, are mobile in any corner of the world. So a person may be trained in a country, but his functions may take him to another country where he might permanently settle through his job career and do the tasks which he is good at. Therefore, the workforce in any part of the world is a diverse workforce comprising people of various nationalities, various cultures, various ethnic origins, various behavioral patterns and habits, which creates a challenge for the managers to handle a very heterogeneous group of people and manage them efficiently to meet the organizational challenges of delivery and growth. So the workforce will consist of absolutely different kind of people from anywhere in the world, but as a manager, every individual will have to effectively build up a team with diverse people. And as I have said, that the challenge today is for maintaining the global environment which should be conducive not only for the humanity today but for the progenies which will emerge. Therefore, any crisis in any part of the world needs to be looked at with the view of totality. Nobody can think that I'm isolated from it or it doesn't affect me, so I should not be bothered about it. But practically, every individual, every organization is expected to contribute towards dealing with the crisis in such a manner as to ensure progress of humanity through better management, through better advantages as are being created through the progress of technology and development of management. And that, if we are collectively able to do it, that will give the competitive advantage for every organization. And the organization, in order to really outperform in the market by surpassing the competitors, need to be a learning organization. where knowledge would be stored, disseminated, and every individual will be made to learn for his individual efficiency and for the collective progress of the organization through sustained innovation of products or product features. In that same breath, knowledge acquisition, knowledge dissemination and knowledge building up will not suffice. The organization has to really be responsive to the customers and responsive through speedy decision making. No organization can really think of taking a very complacent approach to dealing with crisis. They have to really be up and upbeat about all the crises which may pose the challenges at any time, which is why today the challenge is to deal with contingencies. And contingencies are unpredictable, but if the organization is a flexible, aptly decision-making, learning organization, they can really deliver whatever is needed for them to really mitigate the challenges, the global challenges, and exist in the market. And that can be possible through creating teams, such teams which are efficient, effective, and which take decisions in a quick manner. The organizations have to follow the chain of command in the sense that there have to be orderliness of doing activities in the right manner at the right time and doing the right jobs only. There should not be any room for any redundant activity. The next is that can only be possible through getting the right kind of people with right knowledge, right skill, right aptitude, and right behavioral pattern. Recruiting such people, selection and recruiting is not the end, but the organization will have to be capable of managing them, and one of the ways to manage them is by handling conflicts at every level efficiently, so that people feel satisfied, people feel empowered, people are energized to do the creative things, and they think of saying good about the organization and they think to continue with the organization. Thank you. क्या इसमें तो सुनाने देते